Hi, and welcome back to another video here at the Asebu Pan-African Village. Now, this is just to show you the progress that has been made and some few things that you should also take into consideration, especially when you are having your building projects done. So, without not talking further, let's get right into it. So, this is the frontal part of the building, just as you saw the last time. Not so much has changed. However, when you're getting a little bit closer to the right hand side, you notice that that section has gotten to the lintel part, as I was talking about the other time. And also, if you take a very good look at the building, you notice that the pillars or the steel has been all mounted for the entire building to the actual height where the block works is are going to end at. So if you take a look at this side, you notice it's gotten to lintel. Let me just take you through that side as well. So as usual, we have two entrances. We are now going to go through the one that leads to the corridor and then to those two bedrooms. So these are the two bedrooms. To my right here, you first meet the bathrooms, or the bathroom, and then the toilet section area, and then that is one of the bedrooms which is around this section here. So as you can see, we have the windows, which is 5 feet exactly into the middle, and then that's also 5 feet. And then you have the closet section, which is going to have a wardrobe. Now, you notice that this section of the building has gotten to lintel, and we also have the pillars and the steel in it, and we have wood which have been used to secure the edges, because concrete is going to be cast in the columns, the various columns or pillars. Now, the reason why we are doing that is that we are going to be halting a little bit on the rest of the blocking work. So this is the living room section. So we're going to be pausing a little bit to be able to get up more funds. Once more funds are received, then we continue. However, since we got to the lintel part with this section, we can't leave it like that. The reason is because now, in as much as they are blocks, they've been put up with cement and sand and whatever it is to get to this particular point. It is not entirely firm without the concrete holding them together. That's one thing you need to take into consideration. So if we are to leave this just as it is without casting the concrete, chances of this going to be standing for a long time, especially when it rains and it's very windy, is low. Yes, and you wouldn't want a situation whereby after you've blocked up to a certain level, then it rains, there's strong winds, and then it brings your walls down. Now, when it happens that way, it is not the case of the walls not being strong or the cement, proportion of cement that is supposed to be used and the rest. That is not the case. However, it is a case of you not casting the columns that is going to hold the entire building together. So that's one thing you need to take into consideration, especially if you get to a point where you want to halt or maybe pause for some time and then continue. So as you can see, we have the pillars being secured with wood at all the points, and the concrete work is going to be done so that at least once we cast that, then it is okay for us to maybe pause for some time before we continue working on the entire building. But if we don't do that and we leave it as it is without the columns cast, once it collapsed, then you should know that we didn't do the right thing. So that is why you can see the wood. Now most of the time this is either secured, the edges are secured with either wood or metal, depending on the size of columns. But for this, we are using woods to secure the edges, and then the concrete is going to be cast anytime soon. And once that is done, after the concrete are well dried, the woods are going to be taken off, and then eventually we can say that we are pausing for some time. Now the other side, the level of the other side is okay without it being cast now, because it hasn't gotten to lintel yet. Now this height is okay for now, so we can probably pause. But if we're to have continued this section also to lintel, it would have been very mandatory and necessary for us to have had it all cast before pausing on the rest of the block work. So that is one thing that you need to also take into consideration, especially if you know your funds are not going to be able to get to a certain point and you're going to be pausing for some time. You have to try as much as possible to pause at a section where you wouldn't have so much challenges when you're continuing. Else, if you're blocking up, you don't secure the edges with the concrete and the rest, and you leave it as it is, yeah, it's going to come down. And this is something I've seen so many times at different places. It's about when it's about raining at some point, there are strong winds and the rest, and eventually some blocks go down. So that is why one important thing I wanted to draw your attention to, so that in case you are having your building done and something like this is going to happen, maybe you want to pause, you should try as much as possible to pause at a section which is going to be okay. Now, aside from that, as I was saying earlier, the rest of the steel has been put in place for the entire building. You can see that there are a total of 20 columns in the entire building. So 20 pillars going to be cast and all. And the steel works has been done for all. Aside from that, also, the steel works has also been done for the lintel. Now, the steel has been tied. They are inside there. They haven't been placed on top of the blocks yet because not the entire building has gotten to lintel yet. Now, once we bridge lintel for the entire building, that is also going to be placed. The woodworks are going to be done as well, and then the concrete is going to be cast. So basically that is just about it for this video. There isn't so much to show you because we went through the various parts of this building and one of our videos that I did. So I think that just should be it. So without not talking further, thank you very much for watching. In case you are new, kindly go ahead and hit on the subscribe button, and then don't forget to hit on the bell so that anytime I have a new video, you get to see it. So I'll see you in the next one.